When the doors opened at the 1954 Chicago Auto Show, visitors were greeted by something Plymouth had never built before. A bright red sports convertible sat gleaming under the lights, looking nothing like the family sedans the brand was known for. This was the Plymouth Belmont Roadster, and it represented a bold experiment in American sports car design. Plymouth built the Belmont to answer a simple question. Could they create a true sports car to compete with European roadsters? The answer sat on the show floor in fiberglass. This was the first time Chrysler Corporation had ever used fiberglass body construction on any vehicle. The material was still relatively new in the automotive world, but it offered significant advantages. Fiberglass was lighter than steel, easier to shape into complex curves, and did not rust. The Belmont's body showed off these benefits with its sleek, low profile that looked more like a racing car than a street machine. Under that smooth red hood sat real performance. Plymouth installed a 241 cubic inch V8 engine, the same power plant Dodge was using in their vehicles. This engine produced about 150 horsepower, which might not sound like much today, but for a lightweight sports car in 1954, it delivered genuinely quick acceleration. The combination of low weight and decent power meant the Belmont could hold its own against many European sports cars of the era. What really set the Belmont apart was the attention to detail inside. While many concept cars were just pretty shells, Plymouth built this one with genuine luxury features. The center console housed controls for a radio and air conditioning. In 1954, air conditioning in any car was a premium feature. Having it in a small sports car was almost unheard of. The dashboard featured 7 round gauges, arranged to give the driver complete information about speed, engine temperature, oil pressure, and other vital functions. Everything was covered in soft gray leather. The seats, door panels, and interior trim all received this upscale treatment. Plymouth's designers made some unusual choices to maintain the car's smooth exterior lines. The doors had no outside handles at all. To open a door, you had to reach inside through the window opening. This kept the body sides completely clean and uninterrupted. Even the convertible top was engineered to disappear. When folded down, the soft top tucked completely behind the seats under a flat metal cover. Nothing stuck up to disturb the car's streamlined shape. The Belmont's story could have ended like most concept cars, crushed and forgotten after the show circuit ended. But something different happened. Virgil Exner, Plymouth's design boss and the man responsible for the Belmont's styling, loved the car too much to let it die. He made an unusual request to the company. Instead of destroying the prototype, could he keep it? Chrysler agreed, and this decision saved the Belmont from the crusher. Because Exner preserved the car, it survived for decades. Years later, it underwent a complete restoration to return it to show condition. The restored Belmont appeared at Pebble Beach and other prestigious car shows, where it was celebrated as a rare survivor of 1950s design thinking. In 2014, the car came up for auction and sold for $1.32 million. That price reflected not just the car's rarity, but its significance as Chrysler's first fiberglass vehicle and a genuine piece of automotive history. Today, the Plymouth Belmont Roadster stands as proof that sometimes the cars that never reach production can become more valuable and important than the ones that do. Sometimes a car is built for a very specific reason, and nothing demonstrates this better than the DAF Kini. In 1966, the Dutch royal family welcomed a new addition. Prince Willem-Alexander was born, and the entire Netherlands celebrated. The Dutch car company DAF wanted to mark this special occasion with an equally special gift. They contacted Giovanni Michelotti, a talented Italian designer known for his creative automotive work, and together they created something that had never been seen before. The Kini was not meant to be a regular car. DAF and Michelotti designed it specifically as a beach car for the royal family to use at their seaside residences. They started with a DAF Daffodil, one of the company's small cars, and completely transformed it. Everything unnecessary was stripped away. What remained was reimagined as a fun, open-air vehicle perfect for slow drives along the shore. The name itself reflected its royal purpose. Kini comes from Bavarian German, where it means king. This was a car built for royalty, and its name announced that fact. The design was unlike anything DAF had ever produced. Michelotti gave the Kini an open body with no doors. You simply stepped in and out over the sides, like getting into a boat. This comparison was not accidental. Many people who saw the Kini said it looked exactly like a boat on wheels, and Michelotti had indeed drawn inspiration from nautical design. The seats were made from woven wicker, the same material used in beach furniture and boat interiors. This choice was both practical and stylish. Wicker did not get as hot as leather or vinyl in the sun, and it fit perfectly with the car's seaside theme. A colorful fabric canopy stretched over the passenger area to provide shade from the sun. The canopy fabric was bright and cheerful, matching the overall playful personality of the car. Michelotti had studied Italian beach buggies and the earlier Fiat Chalette when designing the Kini, and these influences showed in every detail. The car was meant to be driven slowly, with the wind in your hair and sand nearby. It was not about speed or performance. It was about enjoying the moment. Because it was a gift for the king, the Kini received special treatment throughout its life. It remained a royal family possession and was carefully preserved. Eventually, it found a permanent home in the DAF Museum in Eindhoven, where it could be properly displayed and appreciated as a unique piece of Dutch automotive history. But the story did not end there. On King's Day, in 2021, something wonderful happened. King Willem-Alexander, the same prince whose birth the car had celebrated 55 years earlier, decided to drive the Kini again. He took his daughter along for the ride, and they drove through the celebrations together. This moment created a beautiful connection across generations. The car built to celebrate his birth was now being driven by the king himself, with his own child as a passenger. It reminded everyone that the Kini was more than just a quirky beach car. It was a living link to Dutch royal history. The DAF Kini never had to be fast or practical in the traditional sense. It succeeded perfectly at its actual purpose, being a joyful, sun-soaked vehicle for royal beach outings. Its bold colors, wicker seats, and boat-like appearance made it instantly recognizable. Today it stands as one of the most charming oddities in automotive history, a car that could only exist because someone wanted to celebrate a very special occasion in a very special way. Lotus has always been known for building lightweight, nimble sports cars, but in 1990, they created something that pushed their philosophy to an extreme. The Elan M200 Speedster was painted bright yellow, had no windshield at all, and only one example was ever built. This was not just a styling exercise. It was a fully functional car that could be driven, and Lotus proved it by showing the Speedster at the 1991 Frankfurt Motor Show. The Speedster's origin story makes it even more interesting. Lotus did not build this car from scratch. They borrowed an actual blue Lotus Elan from a customer and completely transformed it. The Elan was Lotus's smaller, more affordable sports car model, and it provided the mechanical foundation. But everything visible was changed. The blue paint became bright yellow. The normal bodywork was replaced with a radical new design, and most dramatically, the windshield was removed entirely. This last decision defined the entire car. Without a windshield, the Speedster offered zero protection from the wind. The driver and passenger sat completely exposed to the rushing air. Lotus's solution was simple and brilliant. They suggested wearing flying goggles instead of having glass. This idea of swapping glass for goggles was extremely forward-thinking for the 1990s. It recalled the early days of motoring when drivers wore goggles and leather caps because cars had minimal weather protection. But applying this concept to a modern sports car was daring. Julian Thompson led the design work. He would later become famous for helping create the Lotus Elise, one of the most successful British sports cars ever made. For the Speedster, Thompson drew inspiration from Formula One race cars. The curved shape wrapping around where a windscreen would normally sit mimicked the aerodynamic forms of racing cars. Behind the seats, A low, curved roll bar provided some safety if the car flipped over. The roll bar was painted the same bright yellow as the body, making it part of the overall design rather than an awkward add-on. Other details showed Lotus's commitment to making this a complete design, not just a quick show car. The front end featured very low headlights set flush into the body. A subtle rear spoiler helped manage airflow at the back. The entire package sat low to the ground, emphasizing the car's connection to racing machinery. Inside, Lotus made bold choices with the materials. The seats were upholstered in purple fabric, paired with black leather and Alcantara trim. Thompson later explained that they chose these materials to be flashy and modern, almost like swimwear fabrics. The combination of purple, black, and yellow created a look that was impossible to ignore. After its debut in Frankfurt, the Speedster appeared again at the 1992 Geneva Motor Show. Then it disappeared from public view. A private collector named Olav Glacius acquired the car and kept it, carefully preserved. The odometer showed only about 100 kilometers. The car had barely been driven, remaining in essentially new condition despite being over 3 decades old. In 2024, something remarkable happened. The Lotus Elan M200 Speedster was offered for sale through an auction in Switzerland. Car enthusiasts around the world took notice. This was their chance to own a genuinely unique piece of Lotus history. The Speedster was described as an amazing, forward-thinking concept that still looked like a hot rod from a toy set. The description was perfect. The Speedster did look almost unreal, like something a designer would sketch as a fantasy rather than a car that actually existed and could be driven. The Lotus M200 Speedster represents a moment when a car company decided to explore a radical idea, build it properly, and show the world what they had created. It was too extreme for production, but that was never the point. The Speedster proved that Lotus could still surprise people, could still push boundaries, and could create something that would be discussed and admired for decades. In the mid-1970s, American safety regulations threatened to kill the convertible sports car. New rules requiring rollover protection made traditional open-top cars difficult and expensive to build. Many manufacturers simply stopped making convertibles for the United States market, but Pininfarina, the legendary Italian design house, saw this challenge differently. Instead of giving up on open-air sports cars, they decided to design a new kind of convertible that could meet the safety requirements while still delivering the excitement of top-down driving. The result was the 1975 Alfa Romeo Eagle. Pininfarina partnered with Alfa Romeo for this project, using the Alfa Romeo Alfetta sedan as their mechanical foundation. The Alfetta was a solid, conventional four-door car. What Pininfarina did with it was anything but conventional. They created a targa-top design, meaning the roof panel could be completely removed for open-air driving. But the key innovation was the integrated safety structure. A strong rollover bar started at the very front of the car and ran all the way to the back. This was not just a bar behind the seats like many sports cars had. This was a complete structural element that became part of the car's design language. If the Eagle flipped over, this integrated bar would protect the occupants much better than traditional designs. Pininfarina was solving the safety problem that was killing convertibles, and doing it in a way that looked purposeful and attractive rather than tacked on. This approach was genuinely innovative for 1975. Most safety features were added to cars as afterthoughts, making them look awkward. The Eagle's safety structure was fundamental to its entire design. Aldo Brovarone led the styling work. He was already famous for many important Alfa Romeo designs, and he gave the Eagle a dramatically different appearance from the normal Alfetta. The front end was sharp and angular, described by observers as chisel-jawed. The entire body followed a wedge-shaped profile, low at the front and rising toward the rear. This shape was inspired by sports racing cars of the era, which used similar proportions for aerodynamic efficiency. The roll bar behind the seats was steeply raked, angling backward rather than standing straight up. This made it look more like a design element and less like a safety cage. Inside, The Eagle showed that Pininfarina was thinking about the future. The dashboard panels used soft matte plastic finishes rather than shiny chrome or wood. The steering wheel had a single spoke, a modern design that was unusual in 1975. Most remarkably, the instrument panel included digital gauges instead of traditional analog dials. Digital displays were still rare in cars at this time, mostly appearing in a few expensive luxury models. Using them in a sports car concept showed that Pininfarina understood where automotive technology was heading. The mechanical specifications were respectable for a small sports car. Pininfarina installed a tuned version of Alfa Romeo's 1.8-liter four-cylinder engine. This power plant produced about 122 horsepower. The body was kept light, weighing approximately 1,000 kilograms. Good aerodynamics from the wedge shape helped the Eagle reach a top speed of around 198 kilometers per hour, which equals 123 miles per hour. For a 1.8-liter engine in a 1970s sports car, this performance was quite strong. Despite all these intelligent design choices and solid engineering, Alfa Romeo never put the Eagle into production. The company's management made a different decision. They chose to continue selling their older Spider design, known as the Duetto. The Duetto had been around since the 1960s, and Alfa Romeo decided to stick with it rather than invest in the new Eagle. From a business perspective, this made some sense. The Duetto was proven and popular. The Eagle was unknown and would have required significant investment to put into production. But the decision meant that all of Pininfarina's innovative thinking remained locked in a single prototype. The Eagle never got the chance to prove itself in the real world, never accumulated miles on real roads, never found owners who could appreciate its combination of safety and style. It remained what it started as, a concept car showing what could be possible. Today, the Alfa Romeo Eagle is remembered as a forward-looking design that arrived at an awkward moment in automotive history. Pininfarina's safety-conscious approach to the open sports car was exactly what the market needed, but Alfa Romeo was not ready to take the risk. The Eagle stands as proof that sometimes the best ideas do not get built, and that concept cars can be just as important as production models for showing us different paths the automotive industry could have taken.